Hey Jules, in this tutorial we're going to be adding and joining yarn. Okay, so what we're going to need is different colors of yarn, your project you're busy with, your crochet hook, and then a pair of scissors. Okay, so we're going to continue on this granny square that we've started. So let's say hypothetically your wool was finished, or you had a change of heart and you decided you wanted to add another color wool into this project. So this would be the easiest or the most basic way to add your new color or yarn or whatever you want to do. So you can start off with your slip knot like that, and what you're basically going to do is choose a corner where you would have started initially, bring your yarn through, and then taking both the tails, just creating your first stitch right over there. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to continue by chaining 3 and doing your 2 extra double crochets into this corner over here. Okay, and then what you can do is you can try and just crochet over this tail to just kind of bury it into this corner over here. And what we can do is we can even move this to bury it in even more. We'll move it to this part of the corner, chain 3, and then create your, oh my goodness, your second batch of 3 double crochets. So that's 1. Continuing to crochet over this little tail just makes it easier that you don't have to sew it in the end, because it can become a little annoying. So what you can do is, once you've now sewn it into this corner, you can then just basically cut this little piece off over here, and now it's nice and buried. And then what you'll do is you'll just continue chaining 2, and then your 3 double crochets into this hole over here, and then chain 2, 3 double crochets into this hole over here. I'm not sure what this project will look like after adding all these colors, but this is just a way to show you how to do this. Chain 2, 3 double crochets over here, chain 3, 3 double crochets into the second part of the corner, and then you'll basically just continue until you get to the end of the round and meet up here with the slip stitch. So go around, continue with this color, and then I'll meet you back when we get to this spot. Okay, so now that we're at the end of this round, we're going to be joining again with a slip stitch. So chain 2 over here, and then join your slip stitch over here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, instead of cutting it off and starting a new stitch, we're basically going to do what we would usually do, cutting off to end off, but instead of tying the knot, we're going to just add the next color. So all of these methods will give you the same results. Some are a bit more bulky than others, but in the end of the day, it's just a personal preference on how you want to do it. So how we're going to be doing this is, you're going to be keeping this tail over here, and you're going to hold a piece of this yarn along with this tail. And now we need to create a slip stitch because we need to get to this corner. So we're going to use this as an opportunity to create our slip stitch. We're just going to continue crocheting with this new yarn, Okay, and then what you can do if you want, if you are scared that this will come apart eventually, you can just tie this together nice and tight. There we go, and we'll just have to sew these ends in at the end. Okay, so now we're just basically going to continue like we would have, but just in another color. So chaining 3 and creating our 2 double crochets over here, chain 3, and do another 3 double crochets over there, you see. And now what you have basically done is you just continued in this new color and you knotted these 2 colors together so they don't come undone. So that is another method of joining your colors. And all you basically want when you join the stuff is to not be visible, because you don't want the people you're giving the stuff to be able to see where the joins are. So like I say, it all depends on the project and your personal preference on how we will join the yarn then. So we're basically just going to continue with this round as all the other rounds, just doing chain 2s and double crochets and chain 3s around the corners to make this block now even bigger. So what you can do is you can just continue to go around, all around, and before we connect it with the slip stitch over here, I will get back to you on how we will join the next part of our colors. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of this round now, so we're going to chain our 2 and then join with our slip stitch, and then we're basically going to cut our yarn off again with the tail. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our new color yarn. Oh, this is going to make it look like a zebra. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to use this one now to do our slip stitch again. Just make sure I get hold of the right yarn. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 tails and we're going to work them into this corner. So we're going to chain 3, and then by holding these 2 tails across this corner, you see why this method is not maybe ideal, because it's an open type pattern. You might then see your tails in between, and you don't always want that. So this is not always the ideal joining method for the granny square. But if you're doing something that's tight and you won't even be able to see those tails in between, this is a nice way, because it also just locks it in there and it won't come undone afterwards. So you've got it right over there. But you see, because we've got a hole over here, we're going to have to cut these tails now, because otherwise we're going to have a dangling part here in the middle, and we don't want that. So we're going to cut off here, and we now kind of joined it into that corner, and then we're just going to continue with our new color that we've decided to use. So you can just go around, all the way around, until we get back to the beginning over here, and then I'll meet you up and show you how you can physically join the yarn. Okay, so for our final round, what we're going to do now is we're going to physically join the yarn. So let's say you can even use this method if you've run out of yarn and you want to join your new ball of yarn to the existing one. So what you're going to do is you can just don't lose this stitch, because you don't want to do this all over again. So you're going to cut off your piece and then bring in your new yarn. Let's just fold this away so you can see what I'm doing. So you're going to put your existing yarn over there, and then facing the opposite direction you're going to put your new yarn. Okay, I just want to make this not too long because we obviously want to get this to start off pretty quickly. Okay, so what you're going to do is, so this is basically joining your yarn together without having to make a knot like this, because I mean it's easy to join yarn in this method, but now you're sitting with this, and if you cut this tail too short to hide it, it will come undone eventually, and that's not what you want. You want something that is durable, that will go through the wash and last and last and last. And this method is a very cool method, and I also saw it on the internet, and I thought I had to share it with you because it is actually so cool. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn, the one piece, you're going to bring it over, and you're going to tie a knot around the other piece of yarn. So you're basically tying this one into the other one. Okay, and then on the opposite yarn you're going to do exactly the same. So you're going to tie it around the opposite yarn. Okay, so now you've got the one tied to the other one and the other one tied to the other. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pull on both sides to pull this knot in over there, and then you're going to cut off, and it's got a neat little knot over there, and this won't come undone, and this hides much better than the other knots. So all we're going to do is just continue like we would have done in all the other rounds. Do our slip stitch, chain 3, and then your 2 double crochets here in the corner, and see now it's starting to pull through that new color yarn. And this is really a very neat way to join your colors, or even an existing color to an existing color. And I have found with cheaper yarns, sometimes you will be busy crocheting and somewhere inside the ball of yarn the yarn will just end, and there's still yarn left, but it's not attached to the rest of the yarn, and then you'll kind of have to join your yarn again, because yeah, it just stopped there in the middle of nowhere. But like I said, I found that with cheaper yarn. I mean, I've got nothing against cheap yarn, I buy lots of them. It's just obviously the quality control on them isn't as strict as any of your other yarns. So all we're just going to do is going to continue all the way around again until we get to the end of this round. So continue with your color as join. We'll meet up right here where we started, and we'll just quickly brief on what we did and if we can see the joins in between. Okay, so we're coming up on the end again of this round, so we're going to chain out 2 and join with a slip stitch. And I have to say this block actually looks very colorful. And then we're going to end off like we would usually, because I'm ending off my block over here, but you're going to continue adding colors and making it vibrant. So all I want to show you now is that here we can look at the corners where we joined. So if we turn our work around, we will now see in our first round we joined and we hit the tail into this corner. The second round we joined and we tied the knot over here. So this we will be just sewing in to make to hide this away, and then cut those tails off. And in the third round we started and we crocheted this tail into this corner over here. You can see, if you look nicely, you can actually still see that part. And then the last one, we physically joined the yarn, and the only difference that you can see there is that the color didn't start immediately like with all the other ones, because we had that little bit extra that we needed to crochet away first before it started onto the new color. So basically that's the only difference in joining the yarns over here. So that's our segment on joining yarns and adding colors to your projects. I hope you enjoyed it.